by to bring us the news updates. Hello, Ellen. Good afternoon. How are you doing?
Very well. How about you this month?
I'm okay. Hope you had a great weekend.
Well, it was good. It was good.
Right. Well, take us away with the news updates.
Okay. Good afternoon to you again. My name is Helena Nyeweja, and it's now time for us to get into the news update. Coming up this afternoon. Have started retailing the product at 70 pesos. Also coming up this afternoon, police launch manhunt for 6 armed robbers who shot and killed Brekum Chelsea forward Dominic Frimpong. Also coming up this afternoon, a coalition of traders and freight forwarders begin nationwide strike in protest against the implementation of publican AI customs valuation system at the ports. This and more coming up now. Please stay with us. Thank you very much for staying with us. Let's start from here. Sachet water prices have begun rising, with some traders selling at 70 pesos across parts of Ghana, despite a recent agreement by producers to suspend the increment. There's more in this report.
This development follows a government-brokered meeting between the National Association of Sachet and Packaged Water Producers, the Ghana Plastic Manufacturers Association, and the Ministry of Trade, where stakeholders agreed to maintain existing prices for at least 1 to 2 months to cushion consumers. Checks across a number of neighborhoods revealed bags of sachet water retailing at 11 cedis and 12 cedis, up from the 8 to 10 cedi range seen in previous weeks, with the variation driven by location, brand and stock levels. Vendors with older inventory in some cases still selling at earlier prices, while others appear to have already passed rising costs down the supply chain. Earlier, producer associations had cited rising input costs, particularly for plastic polymers, fuel and water treatment chemicals, as justification for a planned price adjustment. GPMA President Eboboche explained that the cost of polymers, the key raw material used in sachet packaging, had jumped from approximately $920 per ton to roughly $2,100 per ton, a surge the association linked partly to global market disruptions preceding the U.S.-Israel-Iran conflict. Producers described the decision to hold prices as an act of patriotism carried out at a financial loss. Authorities are expected to continue engaging stakeholders as pressure mounts to stabilize prices and ensure compliance across the supply chain.
Did you hear? Now, away from that, several fishermen traders and residents have been displaced following a demolition at Kajanu, a fishing community at Osu. Officials say the structures were illegal and the demolition exercise is part of redevelopment plan.
The demolition exercise at Kajanu at Osu was done in collaboration with Ghana Police Service, National Security Operatives, and a private developer. According to authorities, the recent demolition activities in Accra and other coastal communities forms part of broader government efforts to improve sanitation, reduce flooding risks, and creating space for future development projects. A private developer, Clemens Jasso, who led the exercise, explained in an interview that the government acquired the land years ago for development initiatives, noting that the area had deteriorated significantly, with structures deemed unfit for habitation. He revealed that several engagements had been held with residents and compensation had been paid to affected occupants years ago. However, many residents allegedly refused to vacate the premises, necessitating the enforcement action.
In 2018, I was here to pay some of the squatters here to move out. They moved out. After 2024 elections, they entered. And I've been here several times with you, the media men, to caution them to move because the land is being reclaimed by the state. They will not heed to it. So this today is just an exercise to pull down the dilapidated structures from the land. The structures here are very bad. Let me put it that way. It's absurd to see our seafront being occupied by squatters. More so, the land is for the state. If it's an individual land, it's a different case. But this land is for the state. And so there's a comprehensive plan to redevelop the seafront so that government can rake in revenue. Thereby, the people here will have better schools, better facilities.
He debunked assertions that the demolition exercise is politically motivated.
I will say emphatically that no politician has taken any land that I've reclaimed. Those are hearsays. I reclaimed aviation, 2013-2014, 600-acre land. Today, it houses across city campus for KNUST. It houses other facilities for the state, apartments for the state, where the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources, Mineral Commission, and Forestry, it houses them. We reclaim atomic land. We reclaim dairy farm. Agric mechanization has been moved to dairy farm. So every land, Boteman, go and see the structures there. Every land that we've reclaimed, the state has put it to good use. No politician is involved in the work I do. You know my work transcends all political divide. I've been doing this not today. And if it is political favoritism, I don't think I'll continue doing this work.
He also cautioned the public against the illegal occupation of government lands across the country, urging such individuals to regularize their status or vacate voluntarily to avoid similar enforcement actions, particularly in areas around Yosupli Station Enclave and Nungwa.
Now, as drowning continues to claim lives across Ghana, with at least 9 people reported dead this week on the Volta River, questions are growing over what more can be done to stem the tide. In this special report, Metro TV's Samuel Asamoah examines a new national lifeguard intervention aimed at preventing further loss of life and strengthening water safety systems across the country.
Every year in Ghana, an estimated 1,400 lives are lost to drowning, a silent crisis unfolding across beaches, rivers, and even homes. For many, it is sudden. For families, it is devastating.
One story that I can readily remember is the Municipal Chief Executive of Koliklote Municipal Assembly, who said at his younger age, he went to the beach with the friends and returned home without one of them.
But now, a coordinated national effort is emerging, one that aims to turn the tide.
And this intervention is novel in nature, since it is a model that we are testing in a way that we want key stakeholders in the country, especially the municipal assemblies, to support and ensure sustainability. So in this intervention, what we are doing that, the funding is supporting the training and deployment of these lifeguards, and also buying equipment to support the work of the lifeguards on the beaches.
Drowning in Ghana happens in many forms: along coastal shores, inland water transport routes, recreational areas, and even within domestic spaces. Children and vulnerable groups are often the most affected. In response, government agencies, researchers, and emergency services have come together under a unified vision to treat drowning not just as an accident, but as a national public safety priority.
As part of the project, what we have done is to bring stakeholders together. Drowning is seen as a multi-sectorial discipline. So to approach and to prevent drowning, it needs several key stakeholders. So in order to to work towards this drowning prevention, we formed what we are calling it National Coordination Board. And this board is to set standards. For example, we had a meeting with the National Coordination Board, which is made up of Ghana Fire Service, Ghana Maritime Authority, Ghana Tourism Authority, the Ghana Police Service, the Ghana Navy, that came, and the National Disaster Management Organization, NADMO. They form the National Coordination Board. And we, the academic institution, like the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology and the Johns Hopkins University School of Public Health, we came together as an academic institution to be generating the evidence to support the work of the National Coordination Board. But in terms of stewardship, it is the National Coordination Board who is supposed to be setting the standards, looking at the policy direction and how this whole drowning prevention initiative should be done or should be conducted in the country.
A national coordination board has been established to drive policy, enforcement and rescue operations across the country. At the heart of the intervention is a bold solution: the training and deployment of professional lifeguards in high-risk areas.
We don't have much skills. We don't know much about the life-saving. But we thank God that this opportunity has come for us, that we got training like this, that we know more skills about the life-saving. So for me right now, when somebody is drowning, I know how to save in life.
The program is being led by public health experts in collaboration with international research institutions, bringing global expertise to a local crisis.
And we have an effort that we have started here in Ghana to work with the Ghana government and academic partners to prevent drowning deaths. The reason that we are working in Ghana is that the drowning rate in Ghana is at least twice as high as what the rate of drowning is in the rest of the world. And that made Ghana a very attractive place to start this initiative that we do here, the Lifeguard Initiative.
Local authorities are playing a crucial role, working directly with communities to ensure the sustainability of the intervention. The project also strengthens emergency response systems, linking the Ghana National Fire Service, National Ambulance Service and the Ghana Navy in coordinated rescue operations. Enforcement and surveillance are being enhanced through collaboration with the police and maritime authorities.
And the lifeguard, they have to have it. They have to train people to see the beach. They cannot helping the people always, then people are drunken and all those things. It's not fair.
Ghana's efforts align with global initiatives, including World Drowning Prevention Day, placing the country on the map in the fight against preventable water death.
But what has pleased me, I think, the most is the eagerness of the stakeholders. And by that I mean ministries, Ministry of Interior with the Ghana Fire Service and the police, NADMO, others such as the Tourism Authority, which has some legislation for tourist beaches, and many of the lifeguards that would work at a tourist beach, or, like at Labadi, would be regulated by the Tourist Authority. So that's an example of other ministries that would be involved. Also the academic partners, the municipal assemblies in the communities, like fishermen associations and others, have been very eager to see something done about drowning.
On April 14, 2026, the Drowning Prevention Lifeguard Intervention Project will be officially launched, a defining moment in Ghana's public safety journey. From tragedy to transformation, Ghana is taking decisive steps to protect its people, because drowning is preventable and every life saved is
From that, let's still do some more social stories this afternoon. Traditional priests and priestesses of the Ghana state have petitioned President Mahama over the revocation of McDan aviation license at Terminal 1 of the Accra International Airport. The group argues that the action against McDan threatens local investments and jobs.
The group, led by Numo Ayite Kobla III, clad in white and red, bands chanted and sang songs as they presented their petition demanding presidential intervention in a dispute that has pitted indigenous Ghanaian businessman Daniel Macaulay, popularly known as McDan, against the Ghana Airport Company Limited. The dispute stems from McDan Aviation's eviction from Terminal 1, the withdrawal of its fixed base operator license, and the repossession of land following clashes with the Ghana Airport Company Limited. The state-owned airport company claims McDan Aviation owes over $3.99 million and 13,000 cedis in unpaid fees dating back to 2020. In May 2025, an Accra High Court awarded Ghana Airport Company Limited possession of 16 acres of land occupied by McDan subsidiaries, citing breaches of lease agreements. McDan Aviation has since sued the Ghana Airport Company Limited over the termination of its license, while Ghana Airport Company Limited has secured a perpetual injunction against further interference by the company.
We humbly petition Your Excellency to 1. Cause an independent and transparent review of the circumstances leading to the revocation of McDan's aviation license at Terminal 1. 2. Ensure that all actions taken in respect of the matter strictly adhere to the principles of natural justice, fairness, and due process. 3. Take such steps as may be necessary to protect indigenous Ghanaian investments, particularly those that contribute significantly to national development. And 4. Reassure the Ghanaian business community that their investments are secured and that Ghana remains a safe and supportive environment for enterprise.
Huge respect to traditional authorities for coming here to express their disquiet on matters that are affecting them. This is in the light of the president's long-held opinion that citizens are allowed to express discontent, disquiet, any displeasure on any matter that troubles them. I can assure you that this petition will be presented to the appropriate quarters. It will be reviewed and necessary action will be taken to its logical conclusion. I want to thank you all for coming here. Thank you very much.
Metropolitan Assembly has announced plans to begin a special night-time enforcement operation targeting food vendors operating without mandatory medical screening across the metropolis. The exercise forms part of the Assembly's broader strategy to strengthen food safety compliance, improve sanitation standards, and protect residents from foodborne diseases.
Head of Public Affairs at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Gilbert Ni Ankara, disclosed that while many daytime food vendors have complied with the medical screening requirements due to routine monitoring by environmental health officers, a number of night operators continue to evade the process. According to him, these vendors exploit limited enforcement activities after dark to operate without valid medical certification, posing potential health risks to the public. He has therefore directed all nighttime food vendors within the metropolis to undergo the required medical screening by the end of the week. Ankara warned that failure to comply will attract strict sanctions when the enforcement exercise begins on Monday. He added that vendors found operating without valid medical certificate risk having their food confiscated, facing arrest, or being barred from selling altogether. Affected vendors have been advised to visit designated screening centers, including the Okaikwe South, Ablekuma South, and Ashiedu Keteke sub-metropolitan offices, as well as the AMA Metropolitan Health Directorate at the head office, to complete the process. The Assembly insists it remains committed to safeguarding public health and will enforce regulations without exception, regardless of the time vendors operate.
Let's now turn our attention to developments. The Gomoa East District Assembly, led by District Chief Executive Margaret Nakum, has commissioned a newly coveted office space to support administrative work in the district. According to her, the office space will enhance efficiency across all departments.
Speaking at the ceremony, Margaret Nana Akum emphasized the urgent need for adequate office space to enhance efficiency across all departments. She noted that the Assembly has long pursued an upgrade from district to metropolitan status and is currently awaiting the passage of the legislative instrument in Parliament. She further highlighted key developmental challenges facing the district, revealing that despite a population between 60,000 and 80,000 residents, Gomoa East has only one bank and no district courts. In addition to the office commission, the DC also inaugurated an 8-seater toilet facility in Bujumbura Model A and B basic schools aimed at improving sanitation and the overall health of students.
World Vision Ghana, in collaboration with the Ghana Health Service and other supporting partners, have organized a health screening exercise for over 3,000 registered children in the Agotime, Zipwe districts of the Volta region. The exercise aims to assess and understand the health status of the children, provide and support for quality healthcare delivery, and promote child-friendly initiatives.
Child-focused organization World Vision Ghana, as part of its mandate to promote quality healthcare services, undertook the screening to assess the children's health status. The screening covered growth monitoring, including height and weight, as well as testing for malaria, typhoid, hepatitis B and C, and blood group identification, among others. The initiative is expected to help parents better understand and improve the health conditions of their children. Speaking to the media during the event, the Cluster Programs Manager for World Vision Ghana, Eriko Pokojako, explained that the rationale behind the exercise is to provide children with access to quality healthcare services.
This is to really improve health care delivery and also to improve the health status of children within their communities. And then, World Vision, we are working with a number of children. So this is a way of also showing our love and also knowing their health status to improve on those health status. Support the families to really seek for improved health care services. So today we have nurses and then midwives as well as doctors who are helping us to screen the children. After the screening, the doctors and then the PAs support to give them the medical advice.
The Agotime Ziope District Director of the Ghana Health Service, Emmanuel Awini Ayamga, noted that knowing the health status of children is key to promoting child health and disease prevention.
This is very, very important because as children, we all know that children normally, we need to screen them for certain common diseases that are predominant in where they find themselves. I think common now, we've been picking up some high cases of typhoid in the district, and as part of curbing it, we need to know at least all the children whether they are suffering from the condition or not. So this is to help promote the child's health and also prevent certain diseases that are coming.
The children were also educated on personal hygiene, oral hygiene, menstrual hygiene, and proper hand washing practices.
Away from health, let's turn our attention to other matters. More than 6,000 widows from 15 communities in the Greater Accra region have received both health and economic support from the McDan Foundation Widows Support Project. There's more.
In partnership with Redin Food Consortium, a Ukrainian food and agriculture company, the annual donation by McDan Foundation forms part of activities to celebrate International Women's Day and to provide economic relief to widows across the country. Over 6,000 widows from communities including Atupai, Choko, Lante, Mamling, Swalaba, Manche Abuna, Mamprobi, Kolegono, Bukum, Sempe, Akotolante, and other adjoining communities received support from the program. Items worth millions of cedis were presented to the beneficiaries. These include 5-kilogram bags of rice each, assorted soft drinks, packs of biscuits, and packs of salt from the Ada Songo Salt Project by Electrochem Ghana Limited. In addition, special boxes of items packaged by Redine Food Consortium were also given to the widows. The event also featured a health screening exercise for more than 2,000 men and women with various health conditions. According to the Chief Executive Officer of the McDan Group, Dr. Macaulay, the event forms part of the corporate social responsibility of the group.
Oh, for now we are giving back.
Chargé d'Affaires of Ukraine in Ghana, His Excellency Ivan Lukachuk, who was present at the function, shared reasons for supporting the initiative.
Ukrainian-Ghanaian relation is very long-lasting relations. We have a very long history of our relations, and our relations is very promising. So we have a lot of opportunities, and such a project is one of the example of our possibility of our cooperation in the future.
Now, the Traders Advocacy Group Ghana and other trade unions have announced a nationwide strike today in protest against the implementation of the Publican AI customs valuation system at the country's ports. The group says the system has introduced excessive automated valuations, significantly increasing the cost of clearing goods and placing a heavy financial burden on importers.
According to Traders Advocacy Group Ghana, TAG, many traders are struggling to sustain their operations due to what they describe as inflated and unpredictable charges generated by the AI-driven platform. TAG also argues that the valuation process lacks transparency and fairness, alleging that the system produces arbitrary pricing for imported goods. The group notes that dissatisfaction is growing among traders nationwide as concerns mount over the consistency and reliability of the new system. As part of the protest, importers, freight forwarders, and other stakeholders have been urged to wear red armbands and participate in the strike across all ports and entry points. Meanwhile, government has defended the Publican AI system, describing it as a key reform aimed at protecting national revenue and modernizing port operations. Officials cite discrepancies in the trade declaration between 2020 and 2025, where imports valued at approximately $127 billion yielded only $52 billion in declared customs value. Authorities say the system is designed to curb practices such as undervaluation and misclassification by relying on data-driven assessments rather than manual processes. Customs officials have also been instructed to base valuations primarily on the system's outputs, with strict directives not to approve figures below its benchmarks. Government maintains that the rollout followed stakeholder consultations and will improve efficiency and transparency in trade process. General Secretary of the group, Nana Puku, speaking in an interview, said the strike is intended to draw urgent attention to the concerns of traders. He warns that the group may escalate its action if authorities fail to review the system and engage stakeholders on the issues raised.
That'll be all for the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana. My name is Helen Anyeweja, and this is where I take leave of you. Over to you, Desmond, a quick answer.
Right, Helen, thank you very much for bringing us the news updates here on Good Afternoon Ghana. And as I mentioned earlier, we have a lot of conversations to talk about today. And so we will definitely get into all of that. We're taking a break. We'll be back shortly.
Hey buddy, it's me Azar.
Yeah, me now they see. Hey, you don't look fresh. Oh.
Hey.
With your label today, me.
Wait till you see what's inside me.
Azar, freshly made inside and out for greater coverage and colors that last longer and beautify your walls, spaces and places. Azar, no size. Go ahead. Buy now. Azar, #1 from Azar Group since 1921.
Looking for comfort, convenience, and class all in one place? Welcome to Stay Easy Apartments on Conference Center, where modern living meets exceptional service. Whether you're staying for business or leisure, Stay Easy offers you a home away from home. Spacious and well-furnished apartments, pool, gym, and everything you need to relax and feel at ease. Planning a meeting, workshop, or special event? Our event ground and state-of-the-art conference center is designed to host your events and bring your vision to life. From corporate gatherings to private functions, we provide the perfect space, supported by modern equipment and a professional team ready to assist you. At Stay Easy, your comfort and success are our priority. Book your stay or reserve your space today. Call us at 020-739-1473 or 0244-226367. Stay Easy Apartments and Conference Center. Stay easy with us.
Hey, Banty, why you there? What lie tell I today go give me my money.
Oh, my guy, what's up? Oba unze me dinner and baby. Scan on ASA. 500 cedis per. Ah.
I see. Level don't change. But to show me the way.
But there's some sorry, Amanua. Talk to babe.
¿Quieres ganar dinero?
Huh?
Cash.
Yes, cash.
Let me show you the easy way to make money with One Shot. Visit the Wanna Own website at wannaown.us. Sign up with your phone number and get ready to play. Select games on the homepage and then select One Shot Game. Deposit to make an entry, then pick a number from 0 to 99. If your number comes up, you win a cool 500 cedis.
Hey, so it'll be easy like that.
Just like that.
So I'll go buy my dream car.
Por supuesto. Just visit wannaown.us and win some cool cash prizes.
It's Bemi. Boom!
You need too much.
Play responsibly. Gaming can be addictive. Accredited and endorsed by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
You're welcome to Junction 5 Lounge. Bar, grill, chill.
You know, say me the Lord for the whole area. We don't control every street for here. My name is Lord Gaza.
Lord Gaza.
You do hear they mix liquor and things. I beg you, for do what? For gather some vim. Otherwise, I think gather boys beat you up. Bad you me now. I see.
Landlord, I beg this one. I beg you for understanding. As young people, you need to be able to make decisions that will better your lives.
If you give this money to me, Jane, I would have bought you nice clothes, like look nice, change my nails, like.
Oh, lifted. Hey, you do such God answer prayers.
Nanama Ejewa, is this the class you're supposed to be taking?
Please.
Nanama,
please.
Is this really happening? What be the source of your what? What's the source of your poverty?
Ayuba this coconut. Ayuba this coconut. That.
Point of correction. I know be Lord Gaza anymore. If you call me Yao.
Oh, Brian.
Hey, all this we should call you this one. Brian for where?
Well, I'm done saying that. Hey, see now what I'm doing there. You can't see me.
Your lounge has been placed at number 10. But after today,
number
I think,
10?
Yeah. After today, I think I'll place you guys at number 5, depending on the taste of your food. Yes.
When Jin is scared about a child and say, okay, you're thinking about what? What is going on with you?
You know one thing, you guys are so incompetent these days. Look here, I'm talking to you, you know that's the truth.
Supplies! You're surprised I've surprised you. Lord Gaza. M-H-O-V. Lord Gaza.
Basu.
Boss will they come? Yeah. I say you did lie. Me I did lie. You did lie. How the girl feel you?
Your world, your stories, your moment.
Welcome to Metro TV.
From breaking news to uncovering the facts of the story. Breathtaking events, mouth-watering trends, and unstoppable entertainment, all in one place. From the banks and corporate institutions to shows that tell you all about the economy. Checking your pulse and keeping a steady heartbeat. Stories of love to blockbuster drama. From crazy fans and heart-pounding sports, we bring you shows and events the whole family loves. This is Metro TV, where every moment matters. Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.
Right, welcome back from the break. This is Good Afternoon Ghana on Metro Television. We're coming to you live from our studios at Northridge in Accra. My name is Desmond Okreku-Danso, and as I mentioned today, we have a lot of things to discuss here on the show, but we're going to be starting with a conversation that has started from a report from the Public Interest and Accountability Committee that was released last year. That's the 2025 report from PIAC. Now, the report has revealed that Ghana's oil production keeps falling, and that is marking a 6th consecutive decline in production for the country. Now, this has brought a lot of scrutiny into the petroleum sector, and especially into the oil revenues. And the report shows that petroleum earnings dropped sharply from about $1.3 to $1.36 billion in 2024 to roughly $770 million in 2025, representing a 43% decline. Now, the fall is expected to weigh heavily on government finances as lower revenues reduce the funds available for infrastructure and other developmental projects. And this important revelation from the report also is that the output in terms of oil production has been bad for the past 6 years, and it has dropped from 71.4 million barrels in 2019 to 37.3 million barrels in 2025. And this trend is raising a lot of eyebrows about what is happening in the oil production sector. And so we're going to stay on this subject and speak to Benjamin Insia. He's joined us via Zoom and just ask a few questions as to where we go from here. 6 years, oil production going down. We are losing a lot of money. And I'll definitely touch on the issue with Explocco, with Benjamin Ishan, the Executive Director for the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy on Zoom. Now, good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us here on the program. I'm sure you must have seen the report, how bad we are doing for the past 6 years. Production is declining, revenue is declining. Did you see this coming?
We saw it before even the year ended because we're picking various data.
Hello, Mr. Insai. If you can speak up so I can hear you clearly. I'm finding it difficult to hear you.
Yes, we saw this particular output or outcome before the year ended because we're observing the price of the product on the international market, as well as our quarterly production bulletin by the Bank of Ghana and other sector agencies that support us with data. And one of the reasons, or two main reasons for decline in revenue, has to do with the price of the product as well as the output. And we've observed that in the last 6 years, as the report has indicated, from 2019, where we reached our peak supply or higher supply, product supply has always or has been declining since. So we're doing about 71 million barrels in 2019. That is the highest we've done in our history. And now we are doing 37. So it means that each year there's a bit of decline. And unfortunately for us, price was also not favorable. And that is why I think revenue inflows also declined compared to 2024.
But looking at the report also, PIAC has looked at some of the blocks in terms of the companies that are doing the oil production and how some of them have just sat there not doing anything really, and we have just sold the blocks to them, but they are not doing anything about it, and that is also hindering what we are trying to make as a country. And also looking at the fact that in the past years, instead of a plateauing where we're supposed to be, after 71, we could have been on the high. Why that sharp decline every year? It keeps going down every year. To this very point, are we at the mercy of these companies who have come to say they are drilling the oil but are not doing anything? We're just watching them?
So I think a bit of correction. Revenue has not declined in the last 6 years. But
yes, the production of the oil.
Output has declined the last 6 years. So these are some of the reasons. Already, some of our wells are matured. And when a well is matured, you need to invest in expanding or redeveloping it to make sure that you produce more. However, some of the IOCs and their Ghanaian partners, GNPC, are not able to redevelop these wells because of maybe lack of investment or lack of need, or the thought of higher operational cost in getting these wells redeveloped. And if the wells are mature, it means that the output expected from these fields or wells are also declining, and that is why we've seen that. The second part also has to do with our regulatory regime. Since 2019, Ghana has gone to about 14 roadshows. What it means is that Ghana has gone to advocate or propagate or advertise our upstream at 14 conferences or events organized across the world. However, out of these 14, none of them was able to bring new investors or new IOCs and their partners to come and explore our upstream. So what it means is that maybe our regulatory regime or the fiscal space is not supporting investor confidence and also attracting the needed investment in our sector. Bearing in mind that these days there are other competing countries that also have a large stock of these petrochemicals. And for that matter, they've developed new fiscal and regulatory framework that attracts these IOCs and other investors in their country. For example, the likes of Guyana. Most Latin American countries are now attracting investment because of their fiscal and regulatory policies. So as a country, we also need to look at reviewing our Petroleum Act, which is a 919, and also ensuring that we also have a new fiscal space, whether we look at the royalty, whether we look at terms of leasing or concession, whether we are going to look at the CIT, which is corporate income tax, whether we are looking at additional oil entitlement. Any of these must be looked at critically and then compared to other emerging markets. And then maybe you're able to solve questions why investors do not want to come to Ghana, but rather go there. The other part also has to do with our macroeconomic stability. I think some of the investors do not also want to come here because of how volatile our macroeconomic indicators are. At a point, your inflation is lower. The next point, your inflation is higher. So it makes it difficult to properly risk assess Ghana's economy, because inflation being higher means that cost of operations will go higher. At a point, your exchange rate is stable. At a point, your exchange rate depreciates. And whenever exchange rate depreciates, it also brings cost burden to these companies, especially when they want to consume from the Ghanaian economy. So that also affects. At certain times, the interest rates are higher, certain times they are not. So any of these will actually affect investor attractiveness or investor confidence. Now, the other part also during the previous government also had to do with the issue of interference in our upstream, where we had the problem of Springfield and then ENI with respect to the unitization. These companies communicate, especially IOCs, communicate among themselves. So if they observe that there's too much political interference in that particular sector, they will discuss with others, and it also frowns on investor confidence. So you realize that ENI decided to go to Ivory Coast, and ExxonMobil and others also went to the Gulf area. So it also gave us a major reasons why we could not. I think the last part also has to do with how we be able to also mobilize local capital to also explore these resources on our part as a national oil company, or maybe local participants in this particular space. We've not been able to mobilize local capital, and that has also caused us this major problem. So there are a lot of factors, very multiplicity factors, and other all-encompassing reasons. But at the end of the day, I think that as an economy, we must ensure that we review and also read around some of these barriers to our investor attractiveness, also expanding our petroleum upstream, and make sure that we get recommendations that will solve this problem once and for all.
Right. So you touched on the very first point that you talked about, that some of the wells are matured, and then we need to find investment. As you mentioned, we've gone on several roadshows trying to market it. What else can we do with that? Because if you are trying to get investors on board, there needs to be a lot, as you mentioned, the laws, the taxes, all of those things should cause them to think that, okay, we need to come and invest in this area. But your very last point also tends to answer my question, though, about how we can take it up by ourselves and do the exploration ourselves. Because if you're looking for an investor and you haven't done anything to have data to share with the investor, it becomes quite difficult. Is that not true? And also looking at the fact that we are focused so much on the Western Basin, and there are other parts of the basin towards, the Volta, where we could also explore. Is that not something we can look at?
I think that farming in some of these natural resources also comes at a huge capital requirements. I think the liquidity injection in these areas are quite huge, and normally our banking sector or maybe the investor community in Ghana may not be able to fund some of these projects, because some of them are also very highly risky due to the lack of available data. I think the reason why most investors normally go to the Western enclave is because of the available data and the assurance that at least we've produced oil from there. And so anyone that knows that we've produced oil from there will rather go and explore than going to new areas that we are yet to discover or explore oil, especially as a country where we don't have much data. So that's the reason why maybe most people or most investors will prefer the Western compared to maybe the Eastern or the Voltaic Basin. And I think when GMPC begins its activity this year by exploring and getting accurate, reliable data, maybe other investors may also begin to explore that particular zone. Now, on your issue about recommendations, I think I've said it earlier that, and truly, I must be frank with you that the government is also reviewing the Petroleum Act as well as other regulatory practices within the petroleum upstream in Ghana. I think myself and then representing civil society platform on oil and gas, myself and Dr. Mantia had to attend one of their meetings chaired by Dr. Komra Donko. So I think government is doing something with respect to how we can review our fiscal and then also our regulatory policies to ensure that we become an investor attractive country. But I think the posture must be must be a fast track posture by government. I think there's a bit of relaxation on concerned nature of government. I see they are not ready to ensure that the sector becomes a new sector that will attract these needed investment. We must fast track the process. I think, yes, we've started the review, but they need to be that fast traction of the new review so that we can get a new policy presented in Parliament or anywhere so that we can market this policy across the world for us to get the needed investors in our space.
Right. You mentioned that some of the bigger companies, Springfield, Exxon, they came in, they left. Now we have the other IOCs who are helping us, or who are doing the job there. But some of the view that we need these big companies to come back, and that could have a ripple effect of having their competitors, looking back at us as Ghana and coming in. How do we do that? Is there a way we can resolve whatever thing that has happened and try and get them back in so that we can have lots more?
So I think a change in government has resolved one of the issues of political interference and also mistrust by political stakeholders in politics. For example, the unitization was a main barrier to attracting some form of investment, but this government has been able to deal with it amicably, and for that matter, we've heard pledges from some of these IOCs in sum of about $3.5 billion injected into, or will be injected into the upstream. So it means that that problem of the solving of that unitization problem, or the distancing of political actors in our upstream has now created a new part of some form of investor confidence, especially among the IOCs already operating in our fields. And I think if the politicians keep distancing themselves from the upstream, we are likely going to get more investors into that stream. But I think the most important thing for us, as I indicated earlier, is to review our fiscal and regulatory policy. And we must do that in comparison with what others are offering, and make sure that we offer a very competitive one. And through that competitive offers, I think we may get new players in our upstream, because it is sad and unfortunate that 14 road shows that will spend huge sums of money by the Petroleum Commission, yet none has attracted any investor in our upstream. It's very sad, and also talks about how we waste resources in getting these investors into the country. So the first thing is that let's review our policies and then make sure that the new policy is a workable one, an investor attractive one, and then we use it to market our upstream to other conferences, and I believe other partners also come and then operate in these fields.
Right. So the next thing that I want to touch on is the petroleum funds, right? And we're looking at the fact that there's decline last year, this year, in terms of revenue. We've lost a bit of that, but we also know that such revenues are supposed to get into other things, including infrastructure, and all of those things. And we've seen over the past year some of the monies, as PIAC reviews in their report, some of the monies from the various petroleum funds, the petroleum holding funds and all of that, has gone into some other projects that has not been completed. And then we would have to, it just distorts what it's supposed to be, and then we'll use that money and get into other things, some companies, as mentioned in the PIAC report, Exploco of GNPC, owing over $560 million to the states, are not paying that. How does that affect us, really, as we are losing our funds into infrastructure building and all of that, but we are not getting, in return as much as we should?
So my position is that the earlier operationalization of the annual budget funding amount was not the best. It didn't give us a certain optimization of petroleum revenue, rather led to wastage because we disintegrated government policies in various areas across the country. And there are certain times that because of that huge disintegration and also allocation for over 1,000 projects in a year gave us less than 50% resource that we expect the fund to do. So it was a major problem. I think it is good now that the government has decided that we are going to use these revenue resources for value addition national projects or projects in national scale than what we're using it for. So I think this new strategy will help us more. The challenge is that whether this the funds available or the revenues available will be able to embark on this huge project like the Big Push project. Because if you look at the project, it also depends on oil revenue. And if you look at what is currently going to the ABFA, it's likely going to be about less than 70% of the oil revenue that we accrue. And as we speak, even though surges of price on the international market may boost our revenue this year, but it's also true that output is likely going to decline again in 2026. So if output declines and prices are not able to surge as we want, it means that the revenue needed may not flow in, and that is likely also going to affect government's ability to fund the Big Push, because the Big Push, as we are made to know, needs about $2 billion annually, and oil prices alone will be around 400 and something million. Then the royalties from the mineral sector also comes in, so we may not be able to get the $2 billion annually we need for the Big Push. But in any case, I think that the new way or the new part of creating value addition or embarking on national projects in national scale is better than the old system where we disintegrate these amounts into districts, municipalities, and metropolis where we don't even get the resource. We go to the field, as you indicated, PIAC visits these fields to verify where these AVFA projects are. And you go there, some of them are zero, yet the money has been expended or people have spent the money. So I think that this new strategy is far better than the old one. And we hope that more inflows come in so that we can get the revenue to complete some of these projects. Because project delay also costs us a lot as a country.
Right. Benjamin, so some say that this report by PIAC has been released. Every year it is released. And in fact, it has been counting down all the declines. What's the, should we be hopeful that their recommendations and whatever that has been put in by PIAC is something that Parliament will take a look at, or the executive body will take a look at and try and restore things as or restructure things as they're supposed to be?
Yes, I think PIAC's recommendations have mostly been complied with by the executive. I think there were certain times that one MP, Kodo, took, I think, the Minister of Finance to court for certain allocations to the DACF. And at the end of the day, Parliament has to look at it and then correct it. So I think that most of their recommendations have been followed through. And I believe this particular report, its recommendations will also be adhered to by the Minister of Energy and also Minister of Finance, because as we are made to know, the ministry has also started engaging sector and agencies under it to ensure that certain appropriate measures or interventions are taken to bring back investor confidence into our upstream. So their recommendations are taken. But what I think, in terms of revenue utilization, what I think PIAC should have had as part of this act, the act that established it, or maybe whether convention established it, must have had what we call a bit of prosecutorial powers. I've always called for that because normally they visit this, they go sightseeing, they visit this project, and you realize that people expend without even the projects being available. And PIAC is not able to prosecute. They are not able to do anything. Yes, it's just to report. I think it becomes a worrisome situation for an organization to always go audit, bring this audit out, and there's no any effective implementation of the audit outcome. So if PIAC itself had some prosecutorial powers, or maybe the AG establishes an office, a legal office at PIAC, to begin to prosecute some of these criminals who use ABFA or other petroleum revenue for their own benefit and not for the benefit of state, I think that will go a long way to streamline and ensure that we rationally, as humans, rationally as a state, use resources for optimal and efficient purposes than what we've seen these politicians do. So I think that should be a recommendation that PIAC must have. PIAC needs certain prosecutorial powers. And recently too, I think I've also heard them call for a certain increment of their allocation in the budget. And I also support them in a way because, especially when government wants to start this big push project, we may need PIAC to periodically visit these sites to ensure that there's value for money from the petroleum receipts to the Ghanaian. And if they don't have enough funds to embark on this journey, then it means that we may not even get the resource we need from the big push project. So we also must equip them with the necessary logistics and liquidity or cash or funds to be able to embark on their mandate effectively.
Right. Someone would, I mean, for what you mentioned, the prosecutorial bit, there was a conversation about that. They mentioned that they've got a meeting with the Attorney General, and we'll see what comes out from that. But with this, what does this do to us as a country that in the past few years we've said that we're an oil producing country on the international front? Should we be worried?
You are not audible.
I'm asking that at this point, should we be worried?
With respect to what is happening on the international front?
Well, with respect to the report, what is happening in the sector and what it does to us on the international front?
I think what is happening on the international front is likely going to help us in terms of revenue, higher revenue mobilization. Because if you look at the budget of 2026, our 7-month moving average price is $76 per barrel. So if today the international market is doing $100, it means that it's to our advantage. So we are making money, especially from the upstream. So we are getting additional revenues, and the projected or simulated revenue, if the price of crude is $100 per barrel, is about 7.2 billion Ghana cedis. So it's positive for us, but the challenge has to be with our output and continuous decline, which we are likely going to observe another decline in 2026. It should be a worry to us that at the time that prices are surging, if you are taking advantage of increased output, Ghana would have been making huge revenues from the upstream that what we are expected to make this year. So we need to turn around the corner, because the output for the past 6 years and likely 7 years this year declining should not be something that we must laugh about. And that is why I think that the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition must be very intentional and must also fast track, must be very proactive in engaging various stakeholders to ensure that we turn the tides in our upstream. And we must also give ourselves timelines. We've heard that some of the IOCs are likely going to invest about $3.5 billion this year. We must give ourselves some timelines so that we encourage them to invest appropriately within the shortest possible time to ensure that we map up a lot of oil from that sector to gain much revenue for the development of our country.
Right. Thank you very much for joining us this afternoon for this conversation. As always, Benjamin Insia is the Executive Director for the Center for Environmental Management and Sustainable Energy, speaking to us about the PIAC report, which states that Ghana has been losing a lot of money, and from last year to this year, there's a decline in the revenue and, in fact, in the oil production for the past 6 years. And Benjamin predicts that 2026 is going to be the same. So it's going to be 7 years of decline in oil production from our countries, how we can solve that particular problem. We're taking a break. When we come back, we're getting into conversations regarding the NDC's primaries that's coming up later in the year. And Wanda Kuto will be joining us. He's a NEC member, and he'll be speaking to us about all of those issues right here on the show. Stay with us.
Mommy, good morning.
Good morning, my son. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you, Mom. How about you?
I'm fine.
Joe, I just saw your mom doing her usual morning routine. Like, it was just 2 weeks she underwent a major colon surgery.
Bro, see, my mom is doing perfectly fine, and we're all excited about it. It was minimally invasive surgery, and the recovery has been very fast.
Minimally? Hey! No, wait. What do you mean by that?
So they offered my mom a laparoscopic colon surgery. Laparoscopic colon surgery, which we accepted. It turned out it was equally safe with a very fast recovery time, and the cost involved too was very, very reasonable. She was discharged 3 days after the surgery, and you can see her, she's on her feet again.
3 days?
Just 3 days, bro.
Mean Tuber Hospital, first Ghana colorectal center, aimed to serve a peculiar health need.
Hello, my friends. My name is Kelkit Toothpaste. Wow. I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Kelkits, happy smile.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy, specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. MNC Properties, choice of class.
Hey, Bunty, why you there? Well, lie, tell her today will give me my money.
Oh, my guy, what's up? Oba unze me din na dede baby. Scan on saying 500 cedis per. Ah. I see. Level don't change. But to show me the way.
But there's some sorry, Manua. Talk to babe.
Here is Ghana dinero.
Huh?
Cash, cash.
Yes, cash.
Let me show you the easy way to make money with one shot. Visit the Wanna Own website at wannaown.us. Sign up with your phone number and get ready to play. Select games on the homepage and then select one shot game. Deposit to make an entry, then pick a number from 0 to 99. If your number comes up, you win a cool 500 cities.
Hey, so it'll be easy like that.
Just like that.
So I'll go buy my dream car.
Presto. Just visit wannaown.us and win some cool cash prizes.
Baby.
I'm boom.
You be too much.
Play responsibly. Gaming can be addictive. Accredited and endorsed by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
Right, welcome back. This is Good Afternoon Ghana on Metro TV. My name is Desmond Okrekudas. We're live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana, also on DSTV channel 277 on Multi TV. We're live on there, and also on 94.1 FM. You can listen to us live on there. We're getting into a conversation with a gentleman. He's no stranger to this show. He's a National Executive Committee member for the NDC and also a board member for the Volta River Authority. He's a lawyer, and Wanda Victor Kuto is my guest this afternoon. Wanda, welcome. How are you doing? The last time you were here, we were talking about 1 year in office.
That's right.
It's been a few months.
Yeah.
There's been a number of other things that have popped up.
That's right. It's busy. I had to launch my book on immigration and all
you
of that.
launched the book?
The immigration formula. It's on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay. What really do you want to push with that?
I mean, basically, there's no law book on immigration in Ghana, but for this book that came into force.
Okay.
The book was forwarded by His Lordship, Justice Emmanuel Kolendi, and Professor Dr. Larry DiMatteo,
okay,
of the University of Florida fame.
Okay. Right. That's a good one.
Thank you.
I'll try and see if I can get a copy of that. And
I'll give you an autograph copy.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fine. I also saw your post a few days ago. You were talking about how long you had worked with the YEA.
Yeah, for 10 years.
For 10 years. And in the past few months, there's been a lot of backlash for Malik.
We've paid all the beneficiaries.
On everybody.
The CEO, Chief Malik Basintale, I mean, he's been working on the quiet. I mean, he doesn't really do...
You've paid everybody?
We've paid them. You can call it up the beneficiary and find out. We've paid them. We've paid them all arrears. And like I said, the CEO said, beneficiaries first. So if you go to the head office, the number of staff or the number of policies that we want to implement, but the CEO always says beneficiary first. So we've paid them. You can call any CPA, I mean community police assistant, those in the fire service, prison service, find out. We've paid them. We've paid them. Yeah, we've paid them.
Okay.
Paid them.
Right, I just had to bring that in, and thank you very much for bringing us.
Ghana, bad news travel fast. So if we haven't paid them, it moves. But when you pay them, it's okay.
They are the ones supposed to let us know.
But it's okay. Ours is to work and serve. Yes. It's okay. I mean, it's okay.
That is what's needed.
Yeah. It's not about the noise. It's the work. That's what matters.
Right. As you are a NEC member of the NDC, let's get into 2026. Of course, this year, what you're looking at doing in terms of the election that is coming up. It was announced in January.
Yeah.
What has been the preparation so far?
Yeah, the NDC, we always use the bottom-up approach.
Use the bottom-up approach.
Yes. A lot of people got confused because of what the MPP did. They turned everything upside down. They started their flag bearer election. But we are not doing that.
Okay.
So we are going to move from branch to constituency to region, then national. Then when all this is done, before the guidelines and the timetable for parliamentary primaries and the flag bearership contest will be open. Okay. But for now, the guidelines and the timetable for the branch, constituency, region, and national is out. But before all of that, we started a process by registering of members. You need to give room for people who want to join the party. Of course, if you look at the numerous work by this government, there's that goodwill. People want to join the party. So we needed to open space. That exercise ended on the end of March.
Okay.
And then subsequent to that, all the registers, the branch registers, were submitted to the constituency offices. As we speak now, a team will be going around for validation. That's where we are now. So the NDC moved in a very mechanized, systemic manner. So after going around, validating all the registers to be sure that these are indeed the authentic register of the party, then we can now move to the next stage, where they open nomination for the election of new branch executives across the country.
Okay.
Don't forget that these branch executives primarily will form the delegate list for the election of the next flag bearer. This branch register will be the fundamental register to vote for parliamentary primaries across the country. So it's a very important exercise. Now, after the branch election, this branch will also, these branch executives will also be those to vote for constituency executives across the country. So once that is done, then we move to the constituency elections. Then from constituency, we move to region, and then we can now move to national. So far, so good for the NDC. We are moving in a very mechanized and a systemic manner. Yeah, so very soon the director of elections, Madi, our own Madi, very hardworking, is going to come out with the data, the statistics. We will even making an infographic way and stuff. So let's wait for the appropriate directorate of the party to make this public. But so far, the numbers are very encouraging, and I'm not surprised. Like I mentioned earlier, the performance of this government, I mean, it's incredible. It's incredible. We've gone over a year without a scandal. So I'm not surprised that people are enthusiastic, and then this has become so attractive. So very soon the statistics will be made public for the Ghanaian people to know.
What do you want to achieve with this approach? As you're saying, the NPP use a different approach from the top to the down, and you are using down to the top. What's the thing about this approach for you that you think is beneficial to the party?
So the NDC believes it's just like when you are building a house. You start from the foundation. You don't start from roofing. You need to make sure your foundation is strong. And if the foundation is strong, you recall at the press conference in January, the General Secretary said that even if a person is diseased, the card number of the person shall not and should not be given to a new person. We want to make the register as credible as possible. The idea is that if the register is credible, the electionary process will be fair, will be proper, and then based on that, there will be trust in the system. And not forgetting that this register will form the basis, like I indicated earlier, for the election of subsequent leaders. And it's always proper to make sure your grassroots, the party structures, the branch level, are organized and united. And you can only have unity if the integrity of the process is clear. So the NDC is using the down-up approach to ensure that we respect the constitution of the party.
You're talking about grassroots. It was just a few weeks ago that a lot of the grassroots members were not happy with what was happening with them. Do you think that's not going to dent any effort by the party trying to gather new people into the party?
Yes. So the concerns that came up were people dissatisfied, for example, with the military recruits, police recruitment.
Right.
They argued that most of them or some of them had their relatives applying and they were disqualified and all of that. Subsequent to that, within 2 weeks, the president has increased the quota. That is not to say that
but
the quota...
that increment is not supposed to be for now.
Yeah, I'm coming to that. So that is not to say that will even satisfy the grassroots, no. But just to let you know, there's a conscious effort being done by government to make sure everybody is sorted. And also, it also tells you that the hope the party persons have in this government They believe that this government is the only government that can provide jobs. And that is significant. That is significant. And I will not sit here and say that everybody has been sorted, everybody is happy. I will never do that. Because I know the truth on the ground. But what do we have to do? We just have to assure that in politics, some will get theirs in the morning, some will get in the afternoon, and some will get in the evening.
They said that was not what you told them during the, not you per se, what they were told before the election.
Yeah, I know, I agree. So that's what I've said, that there are, some one or two agitations on the ground, but largely, people are getting to understand that the party will benefit everyone. And then also, you see the 24-hour economy, we had promised that the legal framework, and the parliament has passed the bill. President has signed it into law. So very soon.
You're into your second year.
Oh, yes, but the second year is very young,
Oh, well, it's a young second year, though, but, a lot of people are saying that was the main thing. So it means that now the parliament has passed it,
yes.
We're going to see it coming into fruition properly.
With full force.
I
can assure you that by the time I come here, maybe God will, sometime August, and the next time we'll talk on this mid-year, August, September, the story will be different.
Wanda, I'm going to hold you.
The story will be different.
I'm going to hold you to that.
Yes, the story will be different.
Now, as we await the elections later in December, a lot of flyers have been going around.
That's right.
There had been a lot of speculations, people going for positions here and there. And then just this one, I've seen that Global Info Analytics has released another one. I'm going to share that with you. That's actually with the flag bearership race. Yeah. But we've seen a lot of people coming out and in that of the NPP, we saw a lot of things internally that were happening because this person wants to get this role, that person wants to get that role in terms of getting their favorite candidate to be elected flag bearer. Is there anything the committee is making sure that as we go towards or approach the election in December, the NDC will not toe that line, that, that is going to bring issues internally in terms of people who are trying to get hold of positions?
No, it's a democratic party. People are free to contest for positions, save that the manner in which the campaign should be run should be civic and decorous. That's what is important. But people are allowed to run once the party opens nomination.
It is that civic part that I'm talking about.
Yes, but I have no doubt. So far, those who have shown indications are noble persons. They've paid their dues to both party and to government. And for the NDC, we have a record of organizing a very free and fair election. And I have no doubt that all manner of persons that will come out to contest will really, really, really live up to expectation.
Are you going to contest? Do you have eyes on any position?
Oh, for the national, yes. I'm already a national executive.
Right.
Except that this time around, I'll be going for a different position.
You want to go for a different position?
Yeah.
And want to combine that with your work as a board member of VRA?
Yeah, you see, the party has, per the guidelines of the party, the party has said that chief executive officers, deputy CEOs should contest elections, should resign before they contest elections. So if you're a CEO or a deputy CEO and you want to contest an election, you ought to resign. But the same guideline exempted board chairmen and board members. Because as board members, you do not operate day to day. So that is the guideline. So we as board members or board chairs are exempted. And that is the decision by NEC, not from me, from NEC. I'm a member of NEC. It's a collective decision that was taken and was announced by the General Secretary. So CEOs, deputy CEOs will resign before.
But for you as a board member, you're not resigning?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right. As you say you want to contest, what position are you looking at?
Oh, clearly, those who are close to me, I've had this conversation with the council executive, the party delegates and staff, and they are the people that matter when it comes to election in our party. God willing, when nomination opens, I use the word when nomination opens, God willing, I will contest for the position of Deputy National Communications Officer of the NDC.
Deputy National Communications Officer of the NDC.
Yes, I've done my consultations.
Hey, already? Wonder, where did you start this one? Because it was just announced a few months ago.
Oh, like I said, I was elected into office in 2022.
Okay.
And people have seen my work.
Mm.
This is my 4th year as a national executive. And I know that my tenure as national executive will expire by the close of the year.
Okay.
So it's natural that I look forward in terms of my political future within the party. And I have done my consultation with all those who matter, with my family, my friends, my political allies, and more importantly, the constituency executives, those who have the mandate, my region, other regions. I've done all the consultation, and I will, God willing, inshallah, Mauta, I will contest for the position of Deputy National Communications Officer of the great NDC.
Okay. Okay, so Wanda says that he's going to contest for that position, Deputy National Communications Officer for the NDC. Let me then ask, what do you make of the Communications Bureau of the party?
Just one sentence. Communication in opposition is not the same as communication in government. As time goes on, you get to know why I'm telling you this.
No, you are saying
communication in opposition.
Right.
When we're in opposition, there's a style you use in opposition. And when you're in government, there's a different style to be used.
That's why some of your friends in the NPP say you lied your way into power.
No, we did not. We did not.
In terms of the things you were saying that when you come you will do, and now you get into power and you're communicating something else.
You see, the NPP, I'm surprised you want us to talk about them. It's surprising that a party that were struggled to implement its promises, the list of them, just less than 2 years in opposition, are crying and fighting back for power. Agenda 111. By the time they told us they were going to use a year to complete that project. As of now, how many of that project is operational? Or is even completed? How many? So after the NPP, we will have time for them. We are doing reorganization as a party now. I've just told you that for me, as a person, this is my political future, following my consultation, and I leave it to the delegates to decide. I do a lot of online, Facebook and stuff, but I believe that the campaign, the politics will go beyond Facebook. It will go beyond online. It has to do with going to the constituents, the constituency executives, the regional executives. They matter, and they will give us power. Thank you.
Okay, so he says he's been doing his background checks, and he's ready for that position. So if anybody comes in, Wanda Kuto says that he's going to win that Deputy National Communications Officer for the NDC.
Whether I win or not, it's the constituency executive who will decide.
No, you say that you have engaged them already.
Oh, yes.
So, since you're getting into the election, you also have to be very optimistic about
Of course.
So, anybody who will come in...
Yes, there's no doubt about it that, inshallah, by God's grace, I'll win the election. 4 years ago, I went to the delegates. They told me they would give me the power. I declared my intention, and I won. We were 19. By God's grace, I came first. I have consulted the same delegates, and they have assured me that I should go for this position. And that is what I'm going for. And inshallah, victory is ours. Wanda for Deputy National Communications Officer. Wanda is coming.
Wanda is letting us know that he's coming for that position. But again, I was talking to you about global info analytics.
Yes.
They're saying that 78% of NDC delegates are worried about jobs.
Yeah, that's what I have said. And it's a valid concern because this is the only...
But 78% is really high.
It's because of the unemployment situation that we met. And one thing about unemployment, you cannot say NDC, MPP, it's Ghanaians.
But there are things that you said to them when you were clamoring to get into the Jubilee House. There were lots of things you said about jobs. You'd give them jobs, and it's been 2 years since you came into office. 1.5 getting into 2.
Yeah, it's not even 1.5 years, but it's okay. It's all right. Like I said, we are trusting the process. And I'm particularly happy that all the legal framework that has to be done with the 24-hour economy has been done.
You're talking about 24-hour economy again.
But that is the game changer.
Okay.
The National Women's Bank, that is the game changer. Because the traditional institutions are there. VRA, GNPC, Bank of Ghana, BOSS, they will employ as much as they can. the security service, they will employ as much as they can. But if we industrialize this country, a lot of people will be employed, and the various shifts, the morning shifts, the afternoon shifts, and the evening shifts.
Okay, so we should put our hopes on the 24-hour economy. That's what you're telling Ghanaians. We'll wait and see what happens with that. Now, away from the NDC and the elections that will be taking place later, let's talk about Sedina Tamakula. Now, we've been talking about this, and now the U.S., let me just read this, says that a U.S. District Court in Nevada has certified the extradition of former Chief Executive Officer of the Micro or Maslock, Sedina Christine Tamaklo Atuenu, to Ghana to serve her 10-year sentence. I've seen a lot of jubilation online that we have this. This is good news, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, the court in Ghana spoke. She was convicted, sentenced 10 years. She traveled and never returned. Ghana has an agreement, a extradition agreement with the U.S. And the court ruled that they have jurisdiction over the case and also over Madam Sedina Ationu, Tamaklo Ationu.
Yeah.
Except to say that this ruling does not mean automatically she will be extradited back to Ghana. There are administrative steps that ought to be taken. It's very important. The U.S. Secretary of State must sign off. Yes, before she is finally surrendered to Ghana. Also, if she decides to appeal the decision, it will also serve as a legal barrier. Until the appeal is determined, she will not be extradited to Ghana. So, as an immigration attorney, I thought it's important to give this education. That the fact that the court has ruled does not mean she's coming back to Ghana immediately. No. They need that administrative signing is also very important by the U.S. Secretary of State. It's important to.
But why would you want to appeal this? You've been handed over a sentence, and you're supposed to come and serve that sentence. Why do you want to appeal? Are you running away? Does this not serve a precedent that would be a worry for us as a country?
No, I won't speak for her. I won't speak for her. I'm not her lawyer. I won't speak for her. I am just telling you the legal, as an immigration attorney, I'm telling you the legal ramification.
Right.
If she decides to appeal, she will not be extradited until and unless the appeal is determined or is heard.
Okay.
Yes, that's the legal ramification.
Okay. So we'll wait and see what happens with that. But for now, this is good news. This is the news that lots of people are also waiting on for the former finance minister.
And we hope that Ken Oforiatta will follow suit same.
Okay. We'll see how that goes. You're still watching Good Afternoon Ghana on Metro Television with me, Desmond Okrekudanso. We've been speaking to Wanda Victor Kuto, lawyer, and he is a member of the NEC Committee of the NDs and also board member of the Voter Review Authority. He says that he's contesting for the Deputy Communications Officer National for the NDC. So wait and see how that goes. We've talked about a number of things, but I know he's also into football. You're on the Starlet Management Committee?
Yeah, under 17.
Yes, under 17. And what's a sad
the Brekum Chelsea
story we had yesterday.
Yeah, it's terrible. So maybe we may have to look at the UK system where police escorts escort the football teams. Maybe we may have
after that attack on Asante Kotoko a few years ago.
Yeah,
it was one of the things that came up. I don't know what happened with that.
Maybe we may have to look at it again and consider it strongly, especially for some areas that we know. I understand this about the 5th time this incident has happened, except that it has now become a public issue because it involves a football club, a player is dead, but that shouldn't be the case. Government should also tighten the security situation in those enclaves. Not just that. When you're also traveling to Tamale.
Right.
I think the Techiman.
Yeah, from Techiman towards the north, there always, a lot of robberies on that particular stretch.
So all those enclaves, we should look at it and then tighten the security aspect. But it's quite unfortunate. Let me respectfully use this platform to express my condolence to the family of the deceased and then the Brekum Chelsea Football Club, and entire members of the football fraternity. It's terrible. It's sad that a player who probably is hoping to join Chelsea, Manchester United, Barcelona, Real Madrid will have his profession cut short in such a manner. Very devastating. Yeah. May the soul of the departed rest in perfect peace.
Right. Well, now, we've got to end it here. Anything you want to add before we wrap it up?
Oh, just want to use the opportunity to thank all members of the NDC, those who have advised me, those who have guided me financially, spiritually. And I want to thank everyone, particularly the constituency executives, who always encourage me, who always guide me as to how to move within the party. I'm grateful to them and to assure them that I'll be coming back to them and we'll continue to work together. And we are ready for the campaign as well. Thank you.
Who do you want to lead the party into 2028?
We are doing our reorganization. Let's finish. Then when we move to that step, this one, like I said, we are doing branch. From branch, we do constituency to region to national. After that, we'll do parliamentary primaries, the flag bearer election.
Okay.
Then we can have this discussion this morning.
Okay. So according to Global Youth Analytics, Johnson Esedun leads the NDC flag bearer race, but it's a narrow gap. So let me just, this is for my viewers, says that Ato Force 19%, Haruna Idrisu 11%, Julius Debra 8%, the Vice President, Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman 8%, Esedun Ketia with 29%, 1% for others and undecided. So that's the latest from Global Info Analytics. The Executive Director, Musa Damkwa, releasing that. We'll definitely get into the details of all of that. So thank you very much, Wanda, for coming in. We'll definitely talk some other time.
Yes, thank you.
Now, there's a sad situation from the Volta region in the North Tongue constituency, and it came into light last week when a woman was heading to the hospital. She was in critical condition. She had to be carried on a wood crossing a very long stretch because the roads in that particular place, that is Ayiwata electoral area, are unmotorable. And my colleague Shadrach Odamie Jare is in the area and shares these visuals with us that just look at the road there, and this pregnant woman had to walk all through because the roads are not in good shape. So according to a report, the lady was left unattended on the floor, waiting assistance from a village elder when the metro team arrived. With no professionals available, the team intervened, and one of our reporters personally escorted her to the nearest medical facility. And this is going to be put into a documentary that we would let you in on that. So this follows a similar case, as I mentioned on Friday, where an elderly woman from the same community was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but the journey was delayed by hours due to the poor state of the road worsening her condition, and the woman had to be carried in a cloth supported with sticks, and that goes to show the situation in the Ayiwata electoral area in the North Tongue, that is a district of the country, and we'll definitely try and link up with Shadrach Odamie Jare, who is in the area. Well, the Health Minister, Kwabena Mintakando, today held the presser on free primary health care, and we're going to have that played for you and just hear what he said at that particular presser. And that's how we'll be wrapping up the show for today. And so we'll get into that. But let's listen to what Shadrach sent to us on that footage.
State in charge of government communication. I have seen the Director General for Ghana Health Service here. I've seen Dr. Yeboah of Chag, my PPME Director. I've seen Honorable Titus Bayo, friends of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Let me say good morning to everybody. Free primary healthcare policy. And as you know, I'm a member of parliament for a constituency that is predominantly rural, that's Dwaboso constituency. And as a farmer, I'm very practical. So I will not bore you with theories and policy details. I will do this to tell you about government free primary health care policy. I will provide highlights of what it is and, more importantly, what it means in practical terms for every Ghanaian and how it will work in our daily lives. After this engagement, there will be more After this engagement, there will be more opportunities for the technocrats and other spokespersons to provide detailed insights into their policy. Ultimately, ladies and gentlemen, this is not just about policy. It's about whether a Ghanaian can access care early, easily, and without worrying about cost. Let me begin with a broader picture. Every country is striving towards universal health coverage, the assurance that all people can access the health services they need when they need them without suffering financial hardships, and Ghana is no exception. Whilst it is true that Ghana has made important progress over the years, we still have a lot of work to do. Our universal health coverage index now stands about 56%, and we need to hit a target of 80% by 2030. Over the years, several governments have attempted to move Ghana closer to our universal health coverage targets through several targets and 2 reforms. And these are the CHIPS Compounds Program and the National Health Insurance Scheme. Despite these efforts, we must also be honest. Too many Ghanaians are still not fully protected. Only about 2/3 of the population is actively enrolled in the National Health Insurance Scheme. That means a significant proportion of our population still faces financial barriers at the point of care. Out-of-pocket payments still account for roughly 1/3 of total health expenditure. In practical terms, this means many families are still paying out of pocket before they can receive care and run the risk of catastrophic expenditure. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a danger. When people have to pay, they delay, they wait, they try to manage symptoms at home. And by the time they come to the facility, the condition often worsened. Now let us consider what this means for the health of our population. Ghana is facing what we describe as a triple burden of disease. We continue to manage infectious diseases, but at the same time, we are seeing a steady and significant rise in non-communicable diseases such as hypertension, diabetes, cancers, stroke, and mental health conditions. What is particularly concerning is that awareness of these conditions remain low. Many people do not know their status. This is problematic because hypertension develops silently, diabetes progresses quietly, and certain cancers show no early symptoms. So people are living with these conditions without knowing until complications occur. For example, data from a study in 2021 indicates that only 35% of hypertensives in Ghana were aware they had high blood pressure. What this means is that for most people, by the time they enter the health system, they are presenting with stroke, kidney failure, advanced cancers, or severe complications. At this point, treatment becomes more expensive, more complex, and less effective. This is why we are seeing increasing morbidity from chronic conditions and why non-communicable diseases now account for a growing share of deaths in our country. These conditions should not be fatal when detected early, but when detection is late, outcomes worsen. At the same time, we must acknowledge system realities. Access to services is still uneven across communities. Some communities are well served, whilst others still face distance and availability challenges. Many primary health care levels facilities do not yet have all the equipment required to deliver the full range of essential services. Indeed, data from nationwide survey covering about 60% of our health facilities showed that only 5% had a full complement of basic equipment, And the situation is even worse for our public health facilities. Only 2% had all the basic equipment that was checked in the assessment. And for too long, our system has been more focused on treatment than prevention. So when we bring these realities together, financial barriers, low awareness, late detection, and system gaps, the conclusion is now clear. The issue is not only access, it is timely access, equitable access, and preventive care. And that is exactly what the free primary health care is designed to address. Now let us now explain clearly what this policy is. Free primary health care is a government policy that guarantees that every Ghanaian can access a defined package of essential primary health care services free at primary health care level. And the emphasis is on primary health care level. This applies at CHIPS compound, health centers, and polyclinics across the country. Not only that, but beyond these delivery points, we will have a more structured approach to disease prevention and health promotion by moving into our communities and households with these services. It is important to emphasize that there will be no cost for the preventive and promotive as well as the curative services within the free primary health care services package. The only thing you need is to show a valid ID card as a Ghanaian. We'll also use the opportunity to encourage all the people who are uninsured to be enrolled on the National Health Insurance Scheme. Ladies and gentlemen, this point is very, very important because the free primary health care has a limit beyond which you need the National Health Insurance card. So there's a clear difference between the free primary health care and the subscriber to the National Health Insurance Scheme. We have clearly defined those facilities. We said CHIPS compounds, health centers, polyclinics, promotive and preventive. So when you are supposed to be referred to the district hospital, the regional hospitals, the teaching hospitals, the quaternary level, it is your national health insurance that will save you. So the national health insurance is still relevant and it's very, very important. We'll also use the opportunity to encourage all people who are uninsured to be enrolled. This will enable them to access care at district, regional, and tertiary hospitals, as well as more advanced primary care services not included in the package. This is a major shift in how our system works. As has already been said, our system has been overly reliant on curative. So there's a system shift from curative to include the preventive and the promotive. Now, let me highlight what the policy covers. In clear terms, it ensures that when a Ghanaian visits a primary health facility, they will be able to receive a range of essential services. And these include routine screening for conditions such as hypertension, diabetes, obesity, and mental health conditions. It also includes cancer screening, maternal and child health services such as antenatal care, postnatal care, immunization, and growth monitoring, as well as health promotion activities such as NCD risk counseling, promotion of family planning, immunization, safe water management, menstrual hygiene, and the treatment of common conditions like malaria, diarrhea, and respiratory infections. In addition, basic emergency care, counseling, and referral services will be provided. These are the services that address the majority of health needs in our population. And survey has it that about 80% of our health needs is the primary health care. So if we get our primary health care right, what it means is that we are getting our system right and we'll have a resilient health sector and health system. Under this policy, they will be accessible without payment at the point of care. Now let me bring this to the level of everyday experience. How will this work for the ordinary Ghanaian. A person in a community would walk to their nearest CHIPS compound or health center or polyclinic. They can walk in, or they may be reached through community outreach. A health worker may even visit them at home. At the facility, they will not only be treated for immediate concerns, but also routinely screened for conditions that often go undetected. If the condition is simple, it will be managed at that level. If it requires more attention, the patient will be referred to a health center or a polyclinic. At the health center, more services will be available, including basic laboratory tests, maternity care, and minor procedures. If further care is needed, the patient will be moved to the next level. And importantly, after treatment, the patient is referred back to the community level for follow-up and continued care. This is a system that is connected, that is continuous, and people-centered. But as I said earlier, this policy does not rely only on facilities. It brings care into communities through structured outreach programs. Health workers will conduct home visits, organize screening activities, visit schools, and carry out community health campaigns. This ensures that even those who do not actively visit facilities are still reached. In addition to these community-based activities, we have made preparations to support a thoughtful, well-planned integration of school clinics and community pharmacies as service delivery points. We want to take our time to do this within this year, but first, we will take our time to learn how to go about the integration in a responsible manner. So we're not going to do a wholesale. We're taking our time to track the progress and then to smoothen the edges. So the big question is, what is changing? What is changing is that care will no longer depend on when you become seriously ill.
Across Ghana's cities and communities, one issue affects all of us: water, sanitation, and environmental health. As urban population grows faster than sanitation services, poor waste management continues to threaten public health and our goal of universal sanitation by 2030. Ghana has policies, infrastructure, and partnerships, but one thing that is missing is a strong central voice. And that voice is The Clean Report, a one-hour weekly TV program produced by Ignite Media, bringing experts, field insights, and policy conversations together to drive behavior change.
The Clean Report, championing cleanliness, inspiring action, building a healthier Ghana. Showing every Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. only on Metro TV.
Smell that? That's the aroma of a whole continent.
Welcome to season 3 of Cook Africa,
and I'm your host, Bilkis Jiwa.
Cook Africa is a platform that showcases the traditions of Africa through food from the East, West, Central, and Northern Africa. This is your show.
Catch me on Cook Africa this and every Saturday at 5 p.m. on Metro TV.